In the world of online dating, danger can sometimes wear the mask of charm. This is the chilling story of Jesse Shane Kempson, a man who turned a Tinder date into a nightmare. What began as a casual meeting ended in cold-blooded murder and a desperate attempt to hide the truth. Welcome to Old Casebook, where we revisit history's most disturbing and forgotten crimes. If you're drawn to true stories buried in the shadows of time, you're in the right place. Let's open today's case. Today we're covering a story so chilling it might make you think twice about who you believe you can trust. It's the case of Jesse Shane Kempson. If you enjoy true crime, mysteries, and true stories, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Now let's get into it. Jesse was born and raised in the Wellington region of New Zealand with his parents, though they eventually divorced when he was only 9 years old. After the separation, Jesse spent most of his childhood with his father and paternal grandfather, while his mother moved overseas. When his father remarried, Jesse remained primarily in his father's care. In his early adulthood, Jesse attended Aotea College and even played softball at a regional level for several teams. When he wasn't in class or on the field, Jesse worked bartending jobs when he could. In fact, between 2013 and 2016, while living in Sydney, Australia, he supported himself through bartending and construction labor. To his family, Jesse appeared to be a hard-working young man with a taste for the fun things in life. But no one seemed to know exactly how he defined fun. To most people, Jesse was an enigma. Acquaintances said he often boasted about having earned a bachelor's degree in international law from Aotea College and claimed he came from wealth. According to Jesse, his family owned restaurant chains in Sydney, and he had connections with influential people in New Zealand immigration. After returning from Sydney, Jesse moved back to New Zealand and settled in areas like Green Lane and Mount Eden, living with other young adults who were just starting their careers. His former roommates later revealed that Jesse often exhibited disturbing and untrustworthy behavior. Many considered him a pathological liar. In his early 20s, Jesse, like many others his age, became heavily involved with dating apps. But in Jesse's case, his obsession would eventually turn deadly. In December 2018, while scrolling through Tinder as he frequently did, Jesse came across the profile of a young woman named Grace Mullane. Grace, originally from Wickford, Essex, had recently graduated from the University of Lincoln with a degree in advertising and marketing. Before pursuing graduate school, she took a gap year to travel and make the most of her youth. After spending 6 weeks backpacking through South America, Grace chose to travel to New Zealand for the next leg of her journey. She arrived on November 20th, 2018, and by the end of the month she had made her way to Auckland. With her birthday just days away, Grace planned to celebrate in Auckland's central business district, possibly on her own, or perhaps not. On December 1st, the day before her birthday, Grace came across Jesse Kempson's profile on Tinder and swiped right. They matched, struck up a conversation, and quickly arranged to meet that evening. Around 5:45 p.m., CCTV footage from the Sky City building captured Jesse and Grace greeting each other with a hug and exchanging pleasantries. They took an escalator to the second floor and headed to their first stop, a place called Andy's Burgers and Bar. Footage shows them grabbing menus before settling at a table just out of camera view, where they shared drinks and appetizers. About an hour later, they left Andy's and walked onto Federal Street, eventually arriving at the Mexican Cafe. There, they drank around 3 jugs of margaritas and sangria before Jesse paid the tab. Their final stop was the Bluestone Room. At around 8:30 p.m., they were seen on camera again, this time kissing passionately at least 3 times. To anyone watching, the date seemed to be going well. The two appeared utterly wrapped up in each other, as though they couldn't keep their hands off one another. And then things took a turn for the worse. Around 9:20 p.m., Grace was seen excusing herself from the pub table, presumably to use the restroom. She left her purse behind with Jesse, likely trusting him to look after it. But that's not what happened. CCTV footage shows Jesse reaching across the table, rummaging through her purse, and slipping what appeared to be cash into his pocket before Grace returned. As troubling as that was, it didn't end there. After leaving the Bluestone Room, The two were seen walking together down the street and arriving at the City Life Hotel on Queen Street around 9:40 p.m. They booked a room for the night and were caught on camera entering the hotel elevator from the lobby. Moments later, they exited on the third floor and presumably headed to their room. Tragically, that CCTV footage was the last time anyone saw Grace Mullane alive. The first sign that something had gone terribly wrong came when Grace didn't respond to her parents' birthday messages and calls, a gesture considered deeply important in her family and very unlike her. As December 2nd, 2018 passed without a word from her, her parents grew increasingly concerned. Wanting to be certain before panicking, they waited 3 days before reporting Grace missing to Auckland police. Meanwhile, Jesse had rented a red Toyota Corolla from a local rental agency. As news of Grace's disappearance spread and public concern escalated, Jesse carried on with disturbing intent. According to him, what happened was a consensual encounter that went too far. He claimed Grace died during rough sex. But his phone records told another story. They revealed that Jesse had taken intimate photos of Grace's lifeless body after her death. Instead of reacting with shock or guilt, as one might if it had been an accident, Jesse searched for disturbing content online while her body lay in the room. He then looked up the Waitakere Ranges, a remote area about 45 minutes from the hotel. Before driving there, he was seen purchasing a large wheeled suitcase, which he brought back to the hotel along with cleaning supplies. After preparing the room, Jesse went out again, this time to meet another woman at a bar, a Tinder date, all while Grace's body remained in the hotel. The woman, who chose to remain anonymous, later recalled Jesse casually saying, "Police dogs cannot smell dead bodies if they are buried more than 4 feet in the ground." Later that evening, Jesse was once again captured on the hotel's elevator camera, borrowing a dolly to move 2 suitcases out of the building, one of which contained Grace's naked body, folded into a fetal position to fit. He exited the elevator on the first floor and calmly rolled the dolly through the hotel's glass doors, loading the suitcases into the red Toyota he had rented earlier that day. After returning the dolly, Jesse drove off with Grace's body, eventually burying the suitcase in a shallow grave within a forested area near Scenic Drive in the Waitakere Ranges, the very location he had searched online just moments after taking her life. By the time anyone realized Grace was missing, Jesse had already resumed his normal routine. On December 7th, Grace's father, David, flew into Auckland, demanding answers from local authorities. Around the same time, police identified a man seen with Grace in her final moments, 26-year-old Jesse Shane Kempson. The next day, Jesse was brought in for questioning, during which he struggled to explain the suitcase seen in the CCTV footage. Following the interrogation, police officially classified the case as a homicide investigation, and Jesse was charged with Grace's murder. At the time, New Zealand law prevented his name from being publicly released. Then, on December 9th, 2018, just after 4 p.m., Grace's remains were found in the Waitakere Ranges, a little over a week after her death. Jesse would go on to face 3 separate trials. In the first, he was convicted of murdering Grace Mullane and sentenced to 17 years in prison. In the second, he was found guilty of sexually, physically, and financially abusing a former girlfriend who came forward after seeing his name in the news. She revealed that Jesse had tried to kill her in January 2017, chasing her with a knife, choking her, and then assaulting her. He received an additional 7.5 years for those crimes. In his third trial, he was found guilty of assaulting another woman, also someone he had met through Tinder, who stepped forward after Grace's murder. He was sentenced to 3.5 more years. Tragically, Grace's father, David, passed away from cancer 2 years after his daughter's death. The story of Jesse Shane Kempson is a chilling reminder to always be careful with the company you keep, because sometimes monsters wear familiar faces. Jesse Kempson's lies eventually caught up with him, but not before he took a young, innocent life and tried to erase his tracks. Grace Mullane's story remains a tragic reminder of how modern tools can be used with deadly intent. Thank you for watching this episode on Old Casebook. If you found this case as disturbing and important as we did, make sure to subscribe, tap the bell icon, and stay with us for more haunting tales from the past. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your casebook close.